Now, I know my son's godmother may not like this part too much, but not too long ago, I went to CVS. She works at Walgreens, so hence the turf war. But anyway, I just needed allergy meds for the baby boy. Pretty simple, right? So when I come in, I go to the counter and it's completely empty, right? There's no service whatsoever. Went to the allergy area and they had a touch screen that didn't seem to work either. So I went to the pharmacy that was in the back and they had no pharmacist there. But they did have a tech. So there was a tech there and the tech tried to guide me on how to use a touchscreen kiosk, which was blinking when I walked past it. And now I'm thinking that both this kiosk and the tech need therapy. Whatever. So I get my drugs. I go to the front, which has another kiosk that has nobody there to check me out once again. And I promise you, if I was that dude... Anyway, I digress. So, look, I just started tapping on the little kiosk thing. The machine freezes, asked me to reinsert my card 5 times. And then it tells me that it can't process my insurance. And right before the thing crashes completely, it flashes this message. A tip? Do I want to leave a tip? For who? For the ghost in the machine? The broken algorithm that just gaslit me into thinking that I forgot how to use a credit card in the first damn place? Maybe I should give the tip to the clueless tech in the back who was last seen poorly communicating with a machine. And that's when it hit me. That's when all of this started to really come into fruition, right? We are getting played. Every single errand that we run feels like a side quest in a rigged video game. Prices are up, quality is down, no service, but more effort. And still, they want a tip. From me? Oh, I'll give you a tip. And even more than that. This is Society Breakdown. Peace, and blessings. This is your boy, Seven Inglewood's on right now in your zone. And this is another episode of The Blackman Show Presents Society Breakdown. And today we are taking a look at the final boss, the puppet master that's behind all of these broken systems that we have been breaking down week after week. Now, society, if you've been rolling with me this far, you've been seeing in some of these previous episodes how we've been talking about things like shrinkflation, right? Where the packages stay the same, but the product disappears. Or the complaint loops, right? Where the companies wear you out until you just give up. Then we got customer disservice, where you're forced to troubleshoot your own problems, kind of like me working at the damn CVS apparently. And a lack of hospitality, where you pay for a service, but you end up doing the job your damn self. Now, are these the 4 horsemen of the retail apocalypse? No.
What a silly Negro.
But these are previous episodes that you probably should check out. Link in the description. In the meantime, these are the very symptoms of the disease. The fingers that make the fist. Or maybe they're the features of a system that is functioning exactly as intended. This is the system. This is Late-Stage Capitalism. And for those of y'all who don't know, late-stage capitalism is the phase of capitalism where the goal is to no longer innovate or improve anything. It's about pure extraction. So for all you ladies who were really caught up in that movie Pretty Woman and it's a beautiful movie about a woman who's down in her dumps, and this guy who's a high quality man comes and brings her out of the dumps and brings her up to his level because he sees beyond all that and he knows her true worth. So while all the ladies were focused on Julia Roberts and all of that and her past not mattering, I was more focused on Richard Gere and the fact that he was a private equity analyst or officer, and he was in the business of...
They both screw people for money.
But yeah, late-stage capitalism is when corporations stop pretending to care about your concerns and they just start strip mining your wallet instead. So more formally, it's an economic condition where wealth is basically concentrated at the top, services are degraded for a profit, and the system prioritizes shareholder value over human life, quality, or sustainability. Or to put it plainly, it's when billionaires go to space when you can't afford eggs. is when you're working 3 jobs and you still can't afford a dentist. It's when it's your job to put up a post about mental health or a mental health webinar, and that's right after you got your PTO request denied. So, with that in mind, today we are answering 3 specific questions, right? Why does it feel like we're paying more but getting less? Who's actually benefiting from this managed decline? And how do we protect our sanity, money, and future from a rigged system? Let's get it. So, welcome to the economy of less for more. Now, no, this isn't exactly capitalism. This is just a little bit different. See, in this version of it, we have something called shrinkflation, right? And in shrinkflation, that's when your cereal boxes are the same size, but now they hold 20% less cereal, right? But, you still get to pay the same great price. Then there's skimpflation, where you're paying the same or more, but the services are worse. And we've talked about this before, so this is exemplified in tons of different ways. Hotels not cleaning your room, airlines that are charged more for legroom that used to be standard, restaurants wanting you to tip after you have scanned the QR code to make your order, you ordered the food from your phone, and then you bust your own damn table. So the wages are stagnant, the product quality is declining, and your choices are illusionary at best. I mean, at this point, you're not a value customer, you're a data point and a recurring revenue stream for these companies. Matrix anyone. I mean, everything is being monetized. Everything is premium. Everything is yours to manage, and you get to blame yourself if it doesn't work.
Ain't that better?
But if it does or doesn't work, that doesn't mean the money is going to you. So the money is still going to the corporations. So that leads us to who's benefiting from these managed declines. Well, the short answer, it ain't you. CEOs make 300 times the average worker's salary. Companies cut staff, raise prices, and still record record-breaking earnings. I mean, yeah, when you think about it, they taking everything away but the company and the name. So you get a shitty product, shitty service, because there's nobody there working the lines, but at least you get the name. And that I stand by.
Like Pepsi, I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
So just like in capitalism, where you're maximizing production for the least amount of pay or input, whatever that is, in late stage capitalism, you're more about maximizing shareholder value, right? So that means you have less or fewer workers, cheaper materials, higher prices, and more stock buybacks. Now, what is a stock buyback? So that is when a company takes its own profits and buys back shares of its own stock. So they don't use that to invest into the workers. They don't use that to invest into the product. They use that to invest into the company itself. It's not an upgrade to anything, but it's simply used as a trick a maneuverability trick. and it's legal, I guess. But they use that to boost their own stock price, because fewer shares on the market means that each one is worth more. So like if I'm company X and I have 100 shares, whatever, right? I have 100 shares out there and everybody buys a share of my stock, and each one of my shares of stock is worth $10. So now my stock is worth $1,000 because they're giving everybody a $10 share, right? So then I say, well, hey, you know what? I have 100 shares of stock out there and the value of it is $1,000. But if I just go out and I buy 50% of the stock that's out there, now that's kind of extreme for a company, but whatever. I buy back 50% of that stock for myself. Now there's only 50 shares of stock out there, but 50 shares of stock are still worth $1,000. Did I just increase the value of my stock or what? I think I did, because I paid off the people who did own it for $10, and I say, hey, here's your little $10. But as a company, my worth has gone up because, hey, now I only have 50 shares of stock and they're all worth, and as a collective, they're worth $1,000. Look at that. I just made more money and I didn't even have to do nothing. Now, as a young accountant, when I realized this was a thing, I said, well, why don't companies just do that? And my benevolent professor would tell me again about the virtues of companies and how beneficial it is to keep their name and their brand and all this stuff, and how they work so hard to blah, blah, blah. And I said, but if stock buybacks are available, what's to keep them from just doing that? And I'm not saying in mass, but what's to keep them from doing that and doing it repeatedly? Keep it like, I'll buy back 10%, then another 10%, then 10%, because you're not buying it all. You're just buying 10% of the 10% that's out there. So you're never buying it all up. You're just incrementally reducing the amount of stock that's out there while incrementally increasing your own value while doing absolutely nothing as a company to make your product better. Your value just goes up. I mean, it's like if your boss gave you a raise by firing 2 coworkers and then telling you that your job is now more valuable. And I can absolutely attest to the shrinkage, the corporate shrinkage, because I've seen it in my personal life, in that I know somebody very dear and close to me, hey babe, who currently in her position is wearing 3 hats, 3 separate hats, and I won't name the positions, but she is wearing 3 separate hats: quality, training, and issuance. Like, these are 3 different separate roles that she's doing, that she's responsible for. All of a sudden, when that's not even what she was hired for, she's still getting the same pay, but she's the one that has the onus of having to wear all these, or be responsible for all these different sectors of the company, while they're trying to make it seem like, well, you should just be grateful that we're giving you this money. It's like, wait, but I'm doing 3 times. So, I mean, again, soon as she got hired, older people got fired, and then a lot of the other older tenured people just took early retirement. So there were quite a few people who were shaken up, or quite a few departments that were shaken up as a result of this change. She was brought in as part of the change to kind of change things, to bring in the new energy to the company. And while that's going on, she's been one of very few new hires. So they got rid of a whole lot of people, brought in very few people, and expect the company to still thrive like it's been doing. I mean, again, she's wearing 3 hats. And I know that she's not alone. So look, y'all let me know, are any of y'all out there working a job right now? I'm sure there are, who are wearing 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 hats at one job. And you're feeling like, man, I can't quit, because 1, they know that they got the right one, because they know that you want your job, they know that you want to make that pay, and they know that you love your position. But they also know that you're not a quitter. And so they use that against you. They say, hey, here's more for your plate. Here's more for your plate. Here's more for your plate. You're not at a damn buffet. But they just keep putting more on your plate, to the point where you're like, well, damn, what the heck? At some point, is somebody else going to help me with this? This is a hell of a plate. How much you want me to eat? So just look at it like this. It's not growth. The companies aren't growing. It's just doing some weird version of financial Botox, right? where sure, it looks good on the surface, but it's still the same old face. And not to mention, of course, we've got the private equity firms that buy up the grocery stores, gut the labor force, and then sell you a $7 bag of grapes like it's a luxury item. Have you been to Cosentino's lately? And hell, how's a place like Save-A-Lot supposed to keep up with prices like that? My dollar's supposed to go far. Now it goes nowhere. Thank you. I mean, like, the market is not even competitive anymore, right? It's cartelized.
There used to be 7 oil companies. There are now 3. It will soon be 2. The things that matter in this country have been reduced in choice. There are 2 political parties. There are a handful of insurance companies. There are about 6 or 7 information things. But if you want a bagel, there are 23 flavors, because you have the illusion. You have the illusion of choice.
Fast food chains, they're basically owned by the same conglomerates. Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, same company. KFC, same company. Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC, Pepsi, same company. All of it, same company. Well, in cahoots, but still, basically the same company. Same thing goes with your internet, right? Your cable internet, you got 2 companies that are sitting there playing hot potato with one another. Ultimately, what does this do, right? This turns capitalism into a system that somewhat is usable to a certain degree. Somebody got to suffer in some sort of way, but you still get some sort of pay. And, where there's a product and somebody else benefits greatly, this is more so like we're killing a thing and selling off the parts, and only ones who are actually benefiting are the salesmen. So the businesses, hell, capitalism as a whole basically just gone full zombie mode, feeding off of us while it's pretending to serve us. Have you seen The Walking Dead? And just like in previous episodes of Society Breakdown, we are trying to find ways to protect ourselves from systems like these, from things like this that occur and that are seemingly occurring without any of our input or ability to stop it. So I'll say first things first, you're not lazy, most of you, and you're not failing. The system is actually failing you. All of these virtuous and highbrow people that are supposed to be, doing better and doing better because they are better than us, the thought leaders and all that, I don't know where they are. They're not leading, they're not taking care of the systems that they've created. They're creating systems and then destroying the systems from the inside and then charging us to watch the destruction. It's crazy. In general, the system is failing. It's failing us on purpose. But there are ways that we can push back. I mean, financially, right? Now, first of all, this is not financial advice. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yes, I have a degree, but I have no idea. I got all F's, so don't follow me. I'm the worst. I don't have a master's. I do have a master's degree, but don't follow me anyway because I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you were to do something that were to better safeguard you from the effects of late-stage capitalism in your own right, I would say you could start by joining a credit union. Of course, I'm a huge advocate of shopping local and supporting your local co-ops whenever possible, and repair and reuse your clothing so that way you can stay away from fast fashion. We had a whole episode on fast fashion, so you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, stay away from bad materials, bad products, and bad exercises as an organization. If you don't support what they're talking about, then don't spend your dollars there, period. Then to mentally get away from the nonsense. Understand that real rest is resistance. Get yourself some time. Stay away from the big, medium, and small screens. All of them are probably bad for you in excess. So get yourself some rest. Take time out of your day to actually not engage in a lot of these online and social media things that are trying to get you get your angst, to get you to act in ways that are emotional. Learn and understand that there are ways. This is probably going to take you kind of off the path, but real quick, you can only hold your emotions for about 90 seconds. So if you're feeling emotional or like you're about to do something in an emotional state, give yourself about 90 seconds to feel the emotion, but count down from 100. From 100 down to 1. It was, 90 seconds or so. Because people count faster than a second. So give yourself count down from 100 to 1. And don't try to give those emotions any other fuel, but just let that emotion happen. You're feeling something, okay, cool. Before you act, whatever act you're about to do, give yourself about 100 seconds or count to 100. Sorry, give yourself about 90 seconds or count to 100 to think about, do I really want to go in right now? Do I really want to press this button? Do I really want to lose my job over saying something crazy? Whatever the situation is, be smarter than the moment. That's what I'm asking you to take away from this thing right here. Be mentally smarter than the moment. Okay. Sorry, getting back. But another thing to help you mentally while you're feeling like you're being attacked, during this time of late stage capitalism is for you to say no to hustle culture, right? You're a person. You are not a brand. Not everybody's talking about you got a brand. You're the brand. You're the brand. Push the brand. Everybody ain't meant to be in business. Everybody isn't in business. And that's just the long and short of it. Not everybody is a brand. Not everybody is in business. You want that to be the thing, and it sounds good. But then that means we're all corporations, and the corporations aren't people, even though they try to say that they are. And we don't want to be that, because then you can treat a corporation however you want to treat a corporation. But people, you have to be a little bit more mindful. And I don't think that's something you want to be known for. Do you want to be known for not being able to relate to people, but you can relate to corporations? Sure, you've gained the world, but you've lost your soul. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I keep having all these Bible references, not as somebody who's a Bible thumper, but as somebody who just knows good information. And when you get good information, you should use it, regardless of where it comes from, right? Isn't that what makes it good, universal? Like, what does it profit you to know how to relate to corporations, which would be the world, but you lose your soul? The people. Don't the people make the money so that the corporations can function? So it kind of makes sense to be able to have some kind of connection to the people. Oh, you are a person? Are you sure? Because you're acting like a corporation. But this might even sound radical. Normalize burnout and find you some community when you're going through it. You don't need competition when you're sitting there fighting for your life. Like, you know what I'm saying? So again, treat people like people. Work in spaces where people are appreciated, and corporations or companies, however you want, they can take the second tier. They can take the back seat. I don't care. As long as they behind the people, because the people should be first, not fodder first. There's a difference. Socially, we talked about this also. You know, you can get involved in local elections, because if you don't get involved in local elections, stuff like this becomes even more prevalent. It becomes easier to happen. And I would encourage you to read more than you do just about anything else nowadays, because if the backlash that we're seeing nowadays from our politicians, especially on the right, and their response to the big, beautiful bill, then we're learning absolutely nothing, because what we should be learning is that reading is fundamental. These people have voted for and are ready to put law into place that will destroy judges, destroy our elections in the future, destroy our court systems, and they have no clue what they're trying to usher in, because they just want their side to win. How heinous is that as a representative of some area of people that you're saying, well, yeah, all these people think like this? That's crazy. All the people in your area believe you shouldn't read bills. All the people in your area believe that the court should be shut. I'm just saying, stuff like that happens when people elect dummies and people who don't want to do their job. And that's what happens when we have politicians who are more prone to be popular for their sound bites than for their policy, right? Like, we need politicians who are actually into doing their job. Boring is good. Boring is good, especially if you can explain boring. Like, if you can do boring and explain boring, do the boring work, that's fine. Now we're kind of stuck in a space where everybody wants to be a star. And I get it. Hey, I want to be a star too. But being a star to me isn't more important than getting the truth out, than making sure that what I say makes sense, and making sure that I'm setting and laying the foundation for my son. You know, so to me, that's more important, and making sure that he feels good about what dad does in the future. Like, if he's looking at something 20 years down the line and he's like, well, hey, what did my dad do? I want him to know that dad wasn't on bullshit. Dad didn't destroy a whole neighborhood just so he could play football. But with that, once again, I digress. I'm sorry. So get involved in your local elections. Look for, mutual aid and even labor organizing, right? Like, because the federal system is jammed, but local pressure still moves mountains. So working locally works on a myriad of levels, more than just shopping, more than just elections. It works, hell, your school boards, be active locally. Don't be mad internationally and inactive locally. Don't be one of those people who talking about the president should blah, 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 and you don't even know who your alderman is. And you don't even know who your governor is, your mayor. You know what I'm saying? Like, understand who the people in your area are, so that's where you can be most effective on the things that you say are more important or most important to you. So yeah, with this comes some level of responsibility. You still have to do some of the work, and yeah, you still won't be getting paid for it. But I think at the end of this, you'll more likely be happy with the work that you're doing on a local level in this sense than the work that you would have to do at CVS or some other store trying to get your allergy meds. So what do we get to take away from all of this, right? Late-stage capitalism isn't necessarily the end of the world, but it is the end of pretending that the system works for most people. It's not broken, it's rigged. But that also means that you can stop internalizing the chaos. You can stop blaming yourself. Build alternatives. Find community. understand the game because, look, once you know the rules, you can bend them, you can break them, or better yet, you can write your own. But I ask you, when was the last time you ever had any sort of interaction to make you feel like, oh damn, is the system, is it me? Is it me or is the system against me? Let me know about those moments in the comments down below. Look, and unlike other people, I stay active in my comment section because I know I'm gonna get like 4 or 5 or 6. So any one of y'all send me any sort of comment, I'm gonna respond. So get active in the comment section and I'll be down there with you, all right? Now, if you've ever walked into a store and left more confused than satisfied, if you have ever felt like your money shrinks faster than your patience, if you have ever been told to work harder while watching your boss buy his 3rd vacation home, then this episode was probably for you. So won't you please like, share, and subscribe. If you're tired of being squeezed, drop a comment, right? Let me know what made you realize that the system is not built for us. And go check out some of the previous episodes like Complaint Loop, Lack of Hospitality, and Shrinkflation. They all basically led to this one. And don't forget to follow your boy at Show the Blackman on all the social media platforms, well, all the ones that we own. And be sure to share this with your mama, because I know she'll like it. But until next time, I have been your boy 7, and please learn to recognize what some of these terms are, not just to sound like you know what you're talking about when it's time for some small talk, but to actually know when you're being had, because knowing is half the battle. And with that said, this has been the Blackman Show Presents Society Breakdown. And I've been your boy 7. I'll see y'all next time, y'all. Peace. And I'm out.